What is the cutest mistake you've ever seen someone make? Story 1. My boyfriend had a brain injury 4 months ago. He was in a coma for about a week, and when he woke up, he had to relearn how to speak coherently all over again. The speech therapist had a session with me present so that I could practice these lessons with him at home. He, the therapist, would say a word and my boyfriend would have to give him a synonym or definition. The therapist said happiness, and my boyfriend pointed to me and said my name. I did a weird mixture of crying/laughing, and the therapist told him, "No, that's incorrect." And my boyfriend pouted and frowned and didn't quite understand his mistake. It's a memory I think of a lot when we're going through a particularly rough patch. Edit. Thank you for the gold. Opinion. That's like a movie or something. Good for you for helping him with the process. I hope he fully recovers. Story 2. A co-worker was born and raised in Armenia and had only lived in the United States for about 2 years. She mostly mastered the English language really quickly, except one day when she was leaving work, she poked her head into the break room and said to us, "Okay guys, I'm leaving. Rest in peace." I think you mean peace out. What's the difference? Rest in peace is what you say to show respect for a person who is unalive. That's what rest in peace means? Why didn't anyone tell me that? I've been saying it to customers for months. Opinion. Enjoy your donuts. Rest in peace. Story 3. Friend and her family, except for her mother, are extremely clumsy. One time her father got locked out of the house and waited for her to come home, but she also forgot her keys. So they waited for her brother, who also forgot his keys. So they ended up all waiting for the mother outside. Opinion. I think this just shows that there is dementia in the genes. Story 4. A little girl in the grocery store was having an argument with her parents. She looked like she was maybe 4 or 5. My husband and I round the corner and this girl looks at us, then her parents, then us, and comes running down the aisle. "I'm going to live with them, and they will be my new mommy and daddy because you're mean." My husband adores kids, and I am very obviously pregnant. We smiled at her parents, and they said, "Oh well, Mr. and Mrs., new dad and mom, good luck with her," before turning their cart and walking away. The girl got this brief panicked expression, and I shouted, "Hey, wait!" Parents turned around. "Does she have any allergies or anything?" "Nope. She's healthy as a horse. She does need a night light, though." "Oh, that's too bad. We don't have night lights." The girl lets go of my husband's shirt tail and hauled back to her parents so fast she looked like a cartoon character running. "I don't really need that toy. I love you." You could tell she really reevaluated her choices up to that point, and it was adorable. Opinion. I love it when other adults play along with other parents parenting. Story 5. My husband and I were on our third date when he suddenly looked up from his food and asked, "Are we on a date?" After a moment of confusion, I informed him that we were, in fact, on a date, and that it was our third. "Oh, good. I'd been hoping." Evidently, he had a number of girlfriends in the past who took going out to eat as the same as hanging out. He'd usually insist on paying because he's a nice guy and held 2 jobs. His response to me telling him it was our third date simultaneously melted my heart and made my self-esteem take a hit. Edit. Clarification about the last line. I only meant I thought I'd been clear about my intentions and had to reevaluate my whole approach to dating. Also, wow, thank you for the gold whoever you are. I can't begin to properly express my gratitude. Opinion. You think he would have realized already after the whole marriage thing. Story 6. A while ago, I was in the mall on a crowded day when suddenly I felt a tiny hand clasp my palm. A little girl, maybe 5, had mistaken me for her mom, held my hand, and started wrapping herself around my leg. It was so sweet I knew it would frighten her when I pointed out her mistake. But when I did, her confused expression was priceless. She continued to hold my hand while we walked around looking for her mom. It was extra cute because I remember doing that myself as a kid. Opinion. Happened to me once. Story 7. I once saw my sister-in-law throw the banana in the trash instead of the peel. She is not a morning person. Opinion. I believe this type of situation has happened to everyone at least once. Story 8. My boyfriend accidentally messaged me instead of his friend when I had gone to the bathroom on our first date. I hadn't checked my phone but came back to find him with his head in his hands. Asking him what's up, he refuses to say anything and looks up, bright red and visibly cringing, so hard I thought he was about to implode. He eventually tells me what's happened. Realizing I am oblivious at this point, I offered to let him take my phone and erase it, but he said he didn't want me to think it was anything bad, so refused. Opening my WhatsApp, I read, "I can't believe it, bro, she's amazing. Same page as me." Bearing in mind the date was just a few hours in and had been going really well, it was so nice to read and I wasn't weirded out at all, having already decided I liked him, but having no real idea if he was in the same boat. He, however, was very nervous and tries to go back to playing it cool, but starts cringing again every few minutes. I eventually couldn't deal with how bad he was feeling, so grabbed the boy's face and planted one on him. The rest of the date goes amazingly and we organize another. A year later, we're mad happy. Found my one hopefully. We often talk about how our lives may have gone on had that not happened. Cutest mistake ever. Edit. Those of you giving him undue credit for being smooth are not the case. Was using a temp Sony Android phone, where the WhatsApp display picture on the person who was messaged you hovers over the one on the chat you're currently on. He repeated the same mistake several times after with more mundane stuff. Thankfully not a move-pulling guy, just a bit of a plank. Opinion. Either the cutest mistake or the dude is smooth AF. Seems calculated to me. Story 9. Not seen but heard. It's the story of how my stepdad and mom met. He was teaching a basic computing course back in the 90s, and my mom was, and still is, very technologically inept. She was having some problems with a word processing document and needed help with something. So my stepdad comes over to her desk and figures out the problem in a couple of seconds. Instead of fixing it for her, he considered it a learning opportunity and guided her through fixing it herself. Okay, so right-click here. And my mom wrote the word click. He says it was both hilarious and adorable, and took all that he had not to burst out laughing. My mom is always embarrassed whenever he tells the story. Edit. Wow. So many upvotes. I am glad you enjoyed this story as much as I do read it. Opinion. Press any key to continue. Where is the any key? Story 10. At a big box store trying to keep my kids occupied while my wife checked out. Told my 3-year-old it was time to leave and she went tearing up after a woman who was dressed the same as my wife opened her arms and hugged the lady from behind with her face planted into the lady's rear end. I was laughing, the lady was laughing, the 3-year-old was scared and confused. Opinion. Hold up, this smell. This isn't mommy's rear end. Story 11. It's not really a mistake per se, but super cute. My friend's dad is Italian. They moved to Germany in the 60s and have lived here ever since. A few years ago, he was caught speeding, not very much over the limit, by a stationary speeding camera. He noticed the flash go off and asked his daughter what would happen now. She told him not to worry and that he would get his ticket in the mail. But he was so worried about having broken the traffic laws that he went to the police station the day after and told them, "I did it." He was obviously asked to explain what he did, and after telling them that he was the one who went above the speed limit yesterday, I guess the cops had a bit of a chuckle, thanked him, and told him he would get mail. Opinion. Case closed, boys. We got him. Story 12. It was one of those awesome days. The sun was shining and the colors of the world were bright. We just stepped out of our car when I heard children crying. When I looked around, I saw a little puppy happily running with his line loose, and two very young children running after the puppy and trying to grab him, both children crying with big tears. So I sit on my knees, calling the puppy in a baby voice, hoping he will find me interesting. He did. So he flew in my arms. To my surprise, the children flew also in my arms, crying that they lost control over the mean doggy. It was surreal and adorable. Opinion. That's beautiful. Story 13. Took my 2-year-old to pick up milk recently at the pharmacy near my house, the closest place to get milk. While waiting in line, he ended up in front of the lady in front of me, leaning against her legs and sitting on her feet. She looked down and said, "Hi, I am not your mommy." He looked really panicked for a second, then saw me. Then he asked to carry the milk. I told him I didn't think he could, but he could try, and set it on the floor. He lifted it maybe an inch off the ground, put it back down, and sadly said, "I too small." Opinion. Too cute. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and activate the bell button to receive notifications to my latest videos.